Hey guys, Welsknight here, and welcome back to another episode of Caveopolis. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. I'm having a fantastic day. Today is a huge day. This is a big one. Today we are going to create a awesome ore creation setup, which we are going to future-proof for basically the remainder of the pack, at least as best I can. And it's going to be basically broken up into several smaller tasks. So I spent quite a long time mathing this out, and I will save you the details of a lot of the math. It kind of felt like playing Satisfactory again, where you're trying to create like this big sort of automated setup, and you need to work out like, oh, I need this much lava per second, which means I need this many advanced barrels to produce X amount. Like, it was a lot of that type of stuff. So I'll save you a lot of the math. But the first setup we're going to have to create is a power generation setup. And what I want to do, I've thought about this quite a lot. Originally, my plan was to go with, there are several options. We've got all of these different dynamos from thermal expansion. And these all produce 40 RF per tick, I think, unless you upgrade them. I think even like this one produces 40 RF per tick. But the two options that would be realistic for us at the moment would be a Stirling dynamo, which runs on pretty much any normal type of like furnace fuel, coal, wood, charcoal, stuff like that. And the magmatic dynamo. And this guy is a little bit more expensive, but it runs on lava and only lava. And you can power either of them essentially infinitely for free. Well, once you have the setup created, I guess would be the way to put it. You can set these up to generate infinite power for you without having to feed more resources into the system once you actually spend the resources to set it up, if that makes sense. For example, we know we can infinitely generate lava using advanced barrels by feeding stone into an advanced barrel that's sitting on top of a lava block. That will create infinite lava. It's not super quickly, but it will create infinite lava. Therefore, we can feed that lava into a magmatic dynamo to generate infinite power. Same thing for the Stirling dynamo. We can use bonsai pots to feed various tree parts, sticks, saplings, and wood into a Stirling dynamo to generate power that way infinitely. And I've been doing a lot of thinking about it and testing out some things. We would need probably about 5 bonsai pots per Stirling dynamo. However, with a magmatic dynamo, we would actually be it's way less. Obviously, bonsai pots are kind of cheaper, but let's put it this way. I want to have 16 Stirling dynamos. That generates 640 RF or FE per tick. For 16 Stirling dynamos, we would only need 1 igneous extruder producing deep slate and 4 advanced barrels to generate enough lava for 16 magmatic dynamos, if I've done my math properly. It's a little wonky because, like, when you look at the magmatic dynamo, right? Oh, you see 1,000 millibuckets of lava, one bucket of lava, will generate 100,000 RF per tick. Okay, so basically you get like 10 millibuckets or 100 millibuckets of lava will generate 10,000 RF. But that's not per tick. So then you have to divide it by 40, and as I said, I did a lot of math. And I don't know if it's entirely right, because there's a couple pieces within this where, like, you look at the advanced barrel and you're like, okay, stone, 80 ticks. All right, cool. And you can see the ticks. But then when you look at some of the other parts, like making the pebbles, for example, in the igneous extruder, it doesn't actually tell you how many ticks are used here. It doesn't say. So I had to kind of guesstimate a little bit, and hopefully that will be okay. But if everything has... oh, and that's the other thing. When you build in creative, like if I jump over to my creative testing world, all of the blocks from, what is it? Simple machinery or something like that. All the stuff like the advanced barrel, custom machinery, that's the one. If you go into a creative testing world and you try to set this up there and test it, all of the stuff from custom machinery just straight up doesn't work at all. Like, it's just a block that gets placed down that doesn't actually have any functionality whatsoever, because when you create it in survival mode, it has certain NBT data assigned to it, and it doesn't get that when you just pull it out of the creative menu. So you can't really test it in creative, and yeah. So here's hoping that everything works according to plan. But to make a very long story into a much shorter story, the first thing we need to set up to power this whole ore production setup is I want to make 16 magmatic dynamos to produce 640 RF or FE per tick. That will be a little bit beyond what we actually need, but there's going to be other stuff in our base that's going to require power, so I do want to have a little bit of a surplus, and we may even upgrade this at some point. We might double the setup, for example. It depends on how quickly we get into better power production mods after this. The ultimate end goal is to have 4 of these ore extractors for each of the ore extractor upgrades. And there are 4 tiers, 1, 2, 3, 4. Plus, technically, there's one for latex turning into rubber and lava turning into blaze powder. But these are we'll set those up on a separate circuit, so to speak. We'll set those up as like an entirely different setup that will not be part of the ones producing generic ores. So I want to have 4 ore extractors for each of the ore extractor upgrades, which means we need a total of 16 ore extractors, and each of these have slightly different requirements for what they need other than just the upgrade itself. Now, we're not actually going to be able to make all of this stuff right away. Like, we don't actually have access to tier 4 ore extractors right now. But we will in the future, and as I said, I want to future-proof this setup so we don't have to rebuild it again in a couple episodes. So, yeah, 16 ore extractors is the ultimate goal. That is going to require 24 alloy mixers, 12 advanced barrels, 3 igneous extruders, and 4 igneous extruders for a total of 7 igneous extruders. That's just the ore part, and then the power requirements. To power all of those ore extractors, we're going to need 16 magmatic dynamos, 1 igneous extruder, and 4 advanced barrels. And I think that's the end goal. Right? I think that's going to take care of everything. So, first things first, power setup. Actually, I am mistaken. In order to create the power setup, we need to create a lava setup. So first thing is lava setup, and I want to actually make use of ender tanks for this and create one single big lava setup rather than like 5 separate ones. That's kind of the plan, and then we will basically be able to poof that lava to wherever we need it to go throughout our base using these ender tanks. This is probably about to result in our death. Yeah, this is bad. We died. Okay, well, it's perfectly fine. Can I just poof back? I totally can. Okay, excellent. Now, the problem is, this guy is in our way. Can I just, like, sneak past you, my dude? Okay, well, I'm gonna have to make a new sword, it looks like. This is fine. I'll make things work. But I need to get a long story short, I gotta get an ender pearl so that we can make another ender tank. And at the moment, you're just witnessing me getting killed. I guess I don't know what I'm going to make this sword out of. I guess I'll just make a cobblestone sword. Like, whatever. It'll be fine. You know, oh, no. The thing is over there. My teleporty bit. Oh, I have a very long walk ahead of me. Okay, guys, I think the lava setup is almost done. We're very, very close. So here's what we have. We have 8 lava or advanced barrels. We have 8 advanced barrels on each side. Underneath this is lava. And then over here we have 2 igneous extruders on each side, and these are producing deep slate. And you can see it produces deep slate actually at the same rate as it would produce pebbles. So that's what, like 2 deep slate per second, once every 10 ticks or something like that, if I had to guess based on eyeballing it. So I've put a drawer here and a drawer here. We could combine these 2 lines into a single drawer, but I want to save on item pipes a little bit. So I decided to just have separate ones because these oak drawers aren't exactly expensive. And now all we need to do is this, throw in one of these guys and change this to round robin. And then do the exact same thing over on these on this side, and these should now be filling up with deep slate. And that'll work. And then, once the deep slate is produced, it all ends up going into this ender storage tank over here. I don't know if this dial actually does anything. I'm not sure, but either way, this will go into the ender storage tank, and then I can suck the lava out of here to use it for whatever I need to, whether that's producing or forming water, powering magmatic dynamos, all that kind of good stuff. So that is essentially the plan. This is just producing us infinite lava, and it works great. So next step is, to be honest, I might have to kind of like do some ore generation outside of our setup because I'm beginning to run low on some ores, and that is a bit of a concern. We'll have to see. Magmatic dynamos require Invar, right? And Invar is made using iron and nickel, so hopefully we should be okay there. Blaze rods. Yeah, I might be able to get away with it. I guess we'll just have to try it and find out. But the next step, outside of maybe me having to do like a temporary ore type dealio, is going to be our power setup with 16 magmatic dynamos. All right, my friends, I think we are ready to finish off the electric or the power room. So 16 magmatic dynamos. I am running very low on certain ores. I think I am almost, this is like all the iron that I have left. So that is a bit of a concern, but what we will be doing is plopping all these dynamos down like so. Now, obviously they're not all facing the right direction, but we've got a crescent hammer for that. So we'll just rotate these until they do face up. And then this will be good to go. So I'll explain the setup here in just a moment. I want to get these going first. There we go. Is that all of them? There we go. Okay, cool. So these are all now facing the right way because the output is always this little like smaller side. Okay, so yeah, the ender tank here has all the lava, and it is distributing in round robin to all of these dynamos. You can see the fluid pipes kind of underneath, and then they output to the top. This energy line goes down and underneath the floor to over here, right in the center, to the power line that is running down this hallway. So we're good. This is now producing power. It's not really producing a lot of power right now because it's not actually using the power for anything. But this will work. This is 640 RF per tick, because 16 dynamos at 40 RF per tick each. So yeah, not too bad. So now for the final and the final part, and the reason that we've done this whole entire thing, and that is the actual ore extractors themselves. We're going to need a few things for this. So first things first, I need to make another ender tank, which I believe I have the resources for. We need one of you. Tank. Oh, here we go. I need 4 blaze rods. Do I have? I have 2. And I do have just enough blaze powder. Man, we're cutting it so close with this. But that's okay. So grab 1 piece of wool, 1 cauldron, and there's our ender tank, because we need lava in order to make the ore-forming water. The water itself will be easy because we just use one of these aqueous accumulators right here, and this will generate essentially infinite water for us. Water's the easy part. So what I need to do is create a setup to make ore-forming water, and then basically pipe that ore-forming water into all of our alloy mixer, or all of our ore extractors. So alloy mixers first, making ore-forming water, and then ore extractors. To do this full setup, I need 24 alloy mixers. I need to see what actually goes into making these. Alloy mixer. Okay, some advanced barrels. This should all be doable, though, because remember, these mixed stone ingots, you can just make these with all of the pebbles, and we have oodles and oodles of all of the pebbles. So I can make more mixed stone ingots very easily. The wooden hopper is just wood. And I mean, keep in mind, we needed to create all this necessary stuff before we could create any ores. So we should be good. The only thing I might actually need more ores for is pipes. And I think we'll be okay there because I can get sort of the basic stuff going first, and then we should be good. And I've already got 4 of these igneous extruders, which should be able to take care of the alloy mixers. Because I do need to make pebbles for the final stuff. But yeah, I think we'll be okay. So I'm going to get to work on this. I'm going to start digging out an area and getting it all set up. And hopefully at the end of this, we'll have tons and tons of ores. So I have good news and bad news. The bad news is I'm dumb. And when we look at the ore extractor upgrades, I was thinking there was 4. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4. There's actually 5. The base upgrade. And I should have known this. I'm just dumb. The base upgrade also produces very important resources like copper and tin and things like that. So we actually need 5 sets of ore extractors. The good news is this is actually set up and functional right now, although not all of the extractors have their proper upgrade in them. And additionally, the one that I forgot is the least resource intensive of all the different ones. It only takes 100 millibuckets of ore forming water per ore extractor. So realistically, these alloy mixers will generate 200 each cycle. That means I really only need 2 more alloy mixers. The lava production, we are, I believe, producing more than we actually need, so we should still be okay there. And additionally, the water isn't an issue. I think realistically what we'll have to do is basically add 1 more igneous extruder. I might do 2 just to be on the safe side, and then 2 more alloy mixers, although I think I'm going to do 4 just to be on the safe side. But it shouldn't actually be that difficult to expand. Unfortunately, though, this is not going to work because I have 1, 2, 3, 4 in sort of like this rectangle shape. Yeah, that's not going to work trying to fit a 5th one in. So I'm going to have to tear all this front part down and redo it. And, I mean, it's not going to be that big of a deal. But I think I'm going to have to go... I think I'll do, like, vertical columns. Like, we'll do 1, 2, 3 right in the center of the room, 4, and 5. And that should still work. It will then be symmetrical, and it will look nice. And... I know this all looks like an absolute disaster back here with all the pipes and stuff everywhere, but we're going to cover all that up. It's going to be hidden, so that will be fine. We're basically going to have kind of this nice front facade where we see the ore extractors and the fragment combiners, and that's it. That's basically all we're going to see, and then it'll be decorative stuff sort of hiding it. So, yeah, I'm going to have to rework this a bit, but not too much, thankfully. Right now, I'm basically just waiting on copper dust and tin because I'm going to need a bunch of brass. That's been my backlog. That's been the thing that my, what's the word I'm looking for? That has been the part that has been slowing me down, because all of the fluid pipes and the item pipes, I need brass to make them, and I didn't have enough. So yeah, basically once I have enough pipes, I'll be able to rework this a little bit, make it all good, and, you know, for the most part, it's pretty much done. It just I just got to rearrange some stuff and add a couple more little machines, and then we should be good to go. Finally, I think we've got it all done, and it's ready to go. It's working well, and it's all future-proofed. So this is kind of what I decided to do. We went with spruce trap doors so that these weren't, you know, super covered up, but that we can still hide all the stuff behind, all the wiring and cables and stuff. One thing I hate is when there are just cables and wires and pipes and all that kind of stuff just exposed and all over the place, and it's just a mess. That's always been a pet peeve of mine when it comes to modded Minecraft, so I always like to hide it behind some walls and other things like that to just sort of conceal that and make everything look a bit more presentable. So we have 5 sets of ore extractors, and basically they are all powered. There's a power line that runs sort of underneath here and comes up next to each one, and then they're fed fluid from the back, from all the ore, the ore fluid, whatever it's called. That feeds into the back, and then we have our items going on the side. The items go down here into a fragment combiner, and then there's an item pipe that feeds it all back to the center and ultimately all the way back to our storage system. So we have our first 3 sets with the ore extractors in them, and you can see they're doing their thing. We are getting ores, but we haven't actually unlocked upgrades tier 3 and tier 4 yet. These will be coming in the future, but I don't want to have to redo this whole room when we ultimately get access to those. So I figured I would put in the machinery for them right away, do all the cabling and stuff right away, and then when we actually get access to the upgrades, all we have to do is craft the upgrades and throw them in. All the infrastructure, if you will, is already in place to support them. So yeah, it's all good. And now we're getting ores that's just going to constantly generate. I think everything is properly load balanced so that we're producing enough lava and all that kind of stuff to keep them running nonstop. And, you know, that's a huge step for us. Now I mean, if you think about it, back at the previous base, we only had like 1 or 2 ore extractors, and that was it. And now we've got 4 ore extractors for each upgrade. I thought about maybe going up to 8, but realistically, I tend to spend a lot of time when I'm, you know, not recording, and for that matter, when I am recording, just sort of running around and like thinking about things. So, and I can always AFK if I need to. So, you know, just in the amount of time that this thing has been running, we've been generating stuff. We're already up to 46 ancient debris. I crafted a whole bunch of iron upgrades. These will increase the storage capacity of a storage drawer by 4 times their base value. And each of these drawers, I think, currently has one except for ancient debris because I ran out of iron. I've got more now. But like we're getting resources. It's flowing in and things are going well. But guys, I think that is going to do it for today's episode. If you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. Links in the description below, so check that out as well. We made a ton of progress today. But other than that, my friends, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.